Greetings, my friends. Welcome back. It's another live stream, and we're playing more Ether 1. Happy Wash Day, everybody, if we're going by the Viking calendar, which of course we are. If the days of the week start on a Sunday or a Monday for you, you are most certainly using the Viking calendar. For the voyeur, what's going on? Welcome to chat. How you doing? Thanks everybody for stopping by to see what's going on. We're playing some more Ether 1, which of course is the puzzle game that I've been playing this week from White Paper Games. Just came out. It's available on Steam right now, and I'll talk a little bit more about the game and everything in just a few minutes. I've got some great news for everybody. Speaking of solving puzzles, I figured out the puzzle of why Shadowplay kept trying to start my web camera every time I play the game, but since I don't have a web camera connected, it just ended up being a black box in the upper right corner of the screen. I figured out that puzzle. Turns out that I was experimenting with an app for my iPhone that lets you use your iPhone as a web camera. It's got a companion app on the desktop, and it just sends the video stream over your Wi-Fi network, your Wi-Fi as some people call it, and sends it over your Wi-Fi network, and it basically just lets you use your iPhone as a web camera. Well, I've got that software open, which means I think that Shadowplay is seeing that software opening and thinking, oh, there is a webcam connected, and so it's automatically trying to display it. I think that's why that kept happening. But now that I know it's happening, I can prevent it from happening, and all can be right with the world again. Drool, hey, what's going on? For the Voyeur says it's actually Nalien Toe from EBA. Oh, hey, what's going on? Emil from EBA, nice to see you too. All right, MV, what's going on? Hey, I retweeted your interview with Pete from White Paper Games. I have not gotten to read it in its entirety. I've only read a bit of it right now, but very intriguing. The first 4 or 5 questions that I was able to get through. So, if anybody is interested in reading a really interesting interview, I'm endorsing the first 4 or 5 questions, which is what I've read. But if that's any indication, I think it's going to be quite good, and it's lengthy as well. There's a lot of detail there. There's an interview published on GameSphere, which I have a link for. I retweeted it. If you go to my my Twitter feed, which is twitter.com/VikingBrent, you can find where I retweeted that, and you want to check out that interview. If you'd like to know more about the game, it's quite good. And speaking of interviews, I did an interview along with my compatriot in chaos, Mr. Lauren Baumgarten, on this week's episode of the Axe Factor, number 152. We talked to James Burton, the tech artist, on Ether 1, and you want to listen to that interview. It's very fun. A lot of interesting things discussed there, and you're going to want to make sure and tune into the next episode of the Axe Factor. If you've been watching me play Ether 1, and if you've been getting excited about that, you think there's some cool stuff going on in this game that you might want to check out, be sure and listen to next week's episode of the Axe Factor, because we're going to be telling you how you can win a copy of the game. We're going to be giving away a few copies of Ether 1, and so make sure and tune in next week for that. Let me see here. Uncle Dude, what's going on? All right, thanks, Uncle Dude. I understand you don't want to have anything spoiled for yourself. That's totally fine. Have a great day. Thanks for stopping by. Heavens Cloud, what's going on, sir? Yes, and MV's reminding me here in chat that interview I mentioned, the one on GameSphere, the one that you can get to by going to my Twitter @VikingBrent. That interview, it is in French, but if you scroll to the bottom of the interview, there's a link that will open up the English version of that interview. So don't go there and be intimidated by the language barrier. Assuming that you're listening to my voice, I'm going to assume you understand something about English. Although I've been told that some of our most loyal fans don't speak a word of English, which, if I'm honest, explains a lot. And who can blame them, really? Let's see who's else. Fabian, what's going on, my brother? Nice to see you. How you been? Yeah, do that, Uncle Dude. If you have any problems, come on back. We had a great time this week. I say we because there were a lot of us. There were a lot of us in chat. We were playing the game, and I had some excellent and timely help from several members of the Axehead Army in solving some of the great puzzles in Ether One, and it's a very very fun game to play with friends, and it was very very cool. I love how you let that tiny detail till now to mention. Yeah, that's me. That's me, leaving out the important details until it's almost too late. It's defined my entire life. All right, so speaking of puzzles, here's the puzzle that we're working on right now. I am in the village area of the game, which if we go back to the case and check out the map, this is actually technically this is sort of the last zone of the game. Although we kind of skipped over the Brimcliff mines, we're going to be looking for that today as we're playing. But we started in Devlin, and we moved to the harbor, and then we moved to the industrial center, and now we are in the village. I'm guessing the Brimcliff mine is over in this vicinity somewhere. But we're currently in the village, and we are working on this puzzle right here. Let's see. Fabian just came back from shopping. Sweet. Fabian also says that this game would be cool to play with an Oculus Rift, and I agree with you. As a matter of fact, I am really looking forward to talking with Lauren, who I think has tried this game with an Oculus Rift. He's got the first dev kit, not the DK2, but the DK1. And I'm anxious to talk to him about his experiences with it. Hopefully, it's been a fun one. Now then, puzzles. This is a game all about puzzles. As a matter of fact, the puzzles are the core part of the gameplay, but they are in fact a optional part of the game, as I've explained a few times before during the show. For anybody who might be watching this for the first time, anybody who might not have heard me, Ether 1 is a very fascinating game in that you can progress through the story of the game simply by exploring, but you don't actually have to play the puzzles. But of course, what fun would that be? You got to play the puzzles. The puzzles are half the point. I say half the point. They're like 3/4 of the point, easy. You know what? They might even be 5/8 of the point, which is less than 3/4. So in hindsight, that statement makes no sense whatsoever. I'm not good with fractions. I'm not going to lie to you. There's a lot of things I'm not good with. Fractions are one of them. So. Oh, that's interesting. Look at that. Oh, that's very interesting. One of the strategies I've talked about is to just be very, very observant, because the thing that's kind of tricky about the game, it puts all the information in front of you, it puts all the tools in front of you, but what it doesn't always do is tell you what is and is not a puzzle. Now, typically, you can you can suss out some details by mere virtue of the fact that the color gold, like this gold color you see here on the dials of this safe, those are in gold. Although it's this color gold, although this one appears to be locked, and I don't know, maybe we'll get it open later, I'm not sure. We actually used a barograph machine very similar to that in the last area of the game. That was one of the more prominent puzzles. The puzzle that I'm working on right now, the thing I'm really thinking about, is this shipment board here. I think that we've got to fill in these two blank spots, the origin and the destination, and that's going to be interesting. I think that the destination is probably the USA, and I'm not sure where the origin is, but what I've just been looking at here upstairs in this export house is up here in the office. There's a map, and I've seen a map similar to this in other places in the game. There's usually a big red line connecting the British Isles to North America, the U.S., right about New Jersey. I actually don't know if this is where New Jersey is. I know this is Florida because I was born there. But I think it's kind of it's not quite New England. It's maybe here-ish, something like that. But anyway, the point is that there's normally a red line going from here to here. This map does not have that. And so I'm looking at it wondering, gee, maybe there's something else to this that I should be thinking about. And then I look over at this lamp, and I notice that there's a lamp here that has no light bulb. And it just so happens that I have a light bulb. I've actually got a black light as well as a normal light bulb back in the stash. So I'm going to try, we're going to try this first with a regular light. Flickering a little bit. Let's take that back. There's another puzzle I've done that involved a black light bulb. I don't know if they'd be ringing that same bell twice, but I want to try the black light bulb. Here we go. Plymouth, Pinwheel, New Jersey. Will you look at that? It's just about having the right tools for the right job. I mentioned that there were going to be spoilers up in this bitch, right? If you don't want to know how to solve puzzles, you got to take a note from Uncle Dude's playbook and come back later. So, the chalkboard downstairs is Plymouth, Pinwheel, New Jersey. And that's Plymouth. Plymouth. That actually reminds me of a girl that I used to date. Just at you know what? Never mind. Never mind. Let's talk about pie. Who likes pie? I know I do. Plymouth, Pinwheel, New Jersey.
Already made up. This is happening.
Aight. Now, in theory, I'm actually... Where's the projector in this level? There's a projector here. Oh, I think it's outside. I think it's outside. In theory, we've got a projector somewhere that's beginning to mend itself. Yes, here we go. One part restored on this projector. We're going to need to restore 2 more parts if we want to work it out. As I was saying, one of the things to the game, knowing what the puzzles to solve usually involves the color gold, and in the case of this board, you'll notice that the brackets at the corners are all in that gold color. It's a well, I mean, we're going to assume this one is. Yeah, it is. It is. But the point is that that kind of lets you know, hey, this is part of the puzzle solving you'll be doing. I noticed that we've also got a gold color on this vise right here, and I'm not exactly sure what we need to put in that vise. But there's something that needs to go in there that's going to, I'm assuming that's going to involve solving this this puzzle. Looks like this is it looks like a really, really unsanitary fish prep station is what it looks like. Because whatever that thing's sitting on, I don't know. That looks porous to me. That looks like something's going to get soaked in there and it's not going to come out. And then you're going to have rancid seafood, which you don't want. I've had it just the one time, and it was enough for me. I think at this point we're pretty much done up here. I'm still curious if that bar graph is going to be a factor in any way. We have this this scrap of paper here, this 0451, which I think is probably the combination to this safe. But as I said, we're going to need another combo wheel before we can get into that. So we'll have to check around a little bit for that. All right, so right now I'm wondering about what we need to clamp in this vise. What goes in here? And if I go back to the to the case here, I notice that everything is actually kind of floating on me here. Must be a little bit of a bug. There's not really anything that I'm seeing here that seems like it was